Welcome back to another episode of The John. I'm clearly not joined by myself. I'm joined by current Missouri Valley Defensive Player of the Week, Drew Berry. Drew, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to make time, especially in season after a game that we'll talk about that game later today. But thank you for taking time, and congrats on being named the Missouri Valley Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. I like your work. I've started to follow since you messaged me, and it's really cool to see. So
well, thank you. I try my best. So as I was telling you before we started recording, I let my mom ask questions to all the athletes that I've interviewed so far. So she's got two questions, and then I'll continue with my questions that I have. How do you prepare? My mom asked, how do you prepare mentally or physically and mentally for a big game?
Yeah, I think as a goalkeeper, it's tough with anxiety and things like that. And just over the years, I've tried to do different things to get like mentally in the right mindset and things like that. And I think just having a scheduled routine and then just breathing and just kind of trusting my ability in a way, you know?
Yeah, because, I mean, I told you before we started, like, those moments come up on you like that. Like, that's soccer or football. That it just comes up like that. Like, it's going to switch to where the ball's on the other side of the field, and then a second later it'll be down by you, and you have to lock in. That's why whenever I played those, I could never do that, because I would always just be like, lost. Like, I need to be in the action, whereas the goalies, sometimes they're looked at as like not in the action, but you're always thinking and processing stuff while you're playing, obviously. So that's something that I find very impressive. Her next question, this is sort of a mom question. What's your favorite comfort meal? You're away from home, obviously. So what's the go-to comfort meal if you're back home?
Go-to comfort meal? I don't know. Recently, I've just been cooking a lot of pasta at home, just kind of experimenting with that.
Fair.
But I don't know. I guess I don't really have a go-to meal,
Yeah, and I mean, pasta's easy. You can really put any sauce or seasoning on it. It'll taste good.
I like just experimenting with different foods and
exactly. And pasta's also gonna taste good no matter what. So we talked about a little bit before this game, before this interview, your game against Milwaukee. You had 11 saves, and I mean all of them were elite saves, but I think the one that stood out was the bicycle kick in the 88th minute. How did that pressure-packed moment feel to you?
Yeah, it was actually right off a goal kick, so I was just kind of in the moment, I didn't want to see the ball again. I was just kind of hoping like we could see the last 2 minutes out of the game and finish the game with a win 1-0, and the guy crossed the ball, and I was like, no way he's lining up for this kick right now, and he had a pretty good strike. I was just lucky to get over there. So, and the relief after I saved it was definitely just like, come on, a minute and a half left.
Yeah, and so especially with it being the home or the first game of the season, those are, and I'm not trying to say like soccer doesn't get a lot of attendance, but those are usually one of your biggest crowds. So that's probably another thing that kind of fires you up, as well as having a bigger crowd there. So we're gonna still kind of focus on that. Milwaukee. This game was a very actually offensive game, even though it was 1-0. Milwaukee had 19 shots. Bradley had 15. You preserved a clean sheet. What mental strategies do you rely on to stay sharp when under constant pressure?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I just kind of have sayings that I go through. So it's like one of them is like, as I surrender to uncertainty, like I am in control, and like I am guided by what I do on the field, and just kind of trusting my defense and myself in a way, because I really believe in this team, and I think we have a good chance to do good things, and just kind of trusting everybody and just kind of taking it step by step, just in the moment. So
yeah, and I think a lot of people will look at your record last year and think you guys aren't that great, but if you look at the score sheets of every game, you were in every game. You competed with, and we'll talk about this later, Western Michigan, who's consistently one of the best teams in the country. You competed with them last year, so you guys have been in competitive games, and then you started this year against Milwaukee, Marquette, and Wisconsin, who are all great teams, and you were able to compete in basically all those games. That match was clearly a defensive battle. Do you prefer those kinds of like high stress games, or the low sort of slow and slow going offensive games or defensive games where it's a 1-0 game like it was that, but like it was against Milwaukee, but there's, 4 shots on goal, or do you like those sort of 19 shots on goal, 19 shots? Like, what would you prefer?
Yeah, I guess I'm just more accustomed to a lot of shots.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, I wasn't on a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an adjustment I actually had to make when I got to college, was those slow games where I'm only going to see 2 or 3 good shots a game.
Yeah.
And I'm called on in the 70th minute and I haven't done much. That was a big adjustment coming to college, and something I've kind of had to mentally prepare for and kind of change. So for me, I always love making more save. So.
Yeah, especially, being a fan who watches and doesn't play, some of the saves are pretty sick. Like when you jump full like dive. I don't know how to describe it, but like you have those ones where you're jumping all over. And then, last season you recorded 4 shutouts, setting a career high, and earned another Missouri Valley Defensive Player of the Week with 8 saves on 17 shots against Western Michigan. How did that performance affect your confidence and momentum for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we were going into that game with a few bad losses late, and kind of just the whole team got up for the game, and it was just really motivated, and I had to make a few big saves here and there, but overall just the team camaraderie and the confidence that we gained going into the rest of the season was really good. So, and I'm just kind of looking forward to kind of trying to carry that into this season, because we've shown that we can compete against even the best teams. So.
Yeah, and I think you guys, like, I'm actually excited for this season, because I feel like it's a new team sort of with the new recruits that you brought in the recruiting process, and you still build on that strong end of the season that you guys had last year. You rank among the top in the Missouri Valley Conference for shutouts, saves per game, and total saves, and are 4th in goals against average. What do you attribute to this consistency?
Yeah, it's been obviously shutouts, and all those stats are team stats as well. So it's really good to be a part of a team that just takes pride in defending, because everybody wants to score, everybody wants the ball, but just kind of taking pride in those shutouts and things like that. And then just been a lot of work, I've been doing this for a very long time, and just kind of trying to get better each and every day and just do what I can to help this team win. So.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's something that I also was like really interested in when I was, I told you I called your Milwaukee game, and then doing some more prep for this, like how Bradley is kind of like your soccer team is kind of the opposite, where they're a lot more defensive minded than most. I feel like D1, when a lot of especially because all the kids in college, you're young, you're in your 20s, you want to be the sort of center of attention, you want to score as many goals, whereas like Bradley is totally okay with not scoring many goals because their defense is one of the best in the Valley, and we'll kind of get into that later, but I think that's something that kind of stands out with this team. Early this season, Bradley has allowed only 0.67 goals per game compared to 1.3 goals against average. For opponents over their first few matches, how does the team set up to contribute to keeping that number low?
Yeah, I think just kind of looking at the opponent and kind of analyzing, I think we have a lot of good players, and we match up against teams very well. And just kind of, again, just taking pride on set pieces especially, so corner kicks and free kicks and things like that. Like, if we can defend those well, it's very difficult to score against us. So.
Yeah, and then, I just said that you guys had a game yesterday against Western Illinois. You logged 6 saves in and you guys lost, obviously, in a 3-2 effort. What goes through your mind during high-intensity stretches like that, where it's a close game the whole time? What is your kind of mindset like when it's a 1-score game or 2-score game, basically? Because I say this in every sport that I watch, no lead is safe until the clock hits 0. So what is your kind of mindset like during the high-intensity stretches of the last 10 minutes of the game where you can't give up a goal or something like that?
Yeah. In high-scoring games, it's tough, because as a goalkeeper, obviously, high-scoring means you're letting up a lot of goals, and just mentally that's kind of frustrating. And I just try to take 15 seconds or whatever after a goal and just move on to the next play, and just, if we're down a goal, do everything I can to get the ball in the attacking third and just try to get a result, get a goal. And if we're up a goal, it's just like mentally really focused on just every single play, every runner in the box, just making sure that I can make every play that I'm called to do. So.
Totally. And do you kind of think like this is something I think you're a lot better with than someone who was younger, a freshman? Do you ever think, or you're a senior now, do you ever think when you were a younger college player, a underclassman, that in those moments you would sort of overthink during that, whereas now you've kind of, I mean, obviously you don't just not think during those moments, but are you kind of a lot more like you understand it now, whereas when you were younger you're kind of stressing about the little stuff, whereas now you're a lot more kind of understanding of it?
Yeah, I was very, I guess, self-conscious of my play my freshman year, and every goal kick I was like, was that far enough? Or every single save I was like, oh, I could have caught that, I could have done this. Or if I gave up a goal 10 minutes in the game, I'd be thinking about it in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just things like that. So it was a hard adjustment for me especially, but I think that's just kind of the difference I have is just next play mentality, especially if the ball doesn't go in. That's the biggest priority. And
exactly.
If, I didn't catch a ball that I should have, it doesn't really matter. It's just a next play type of thing. So I definitely learned that throughout the years.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's something, especially now in college sports, that is so important, is having seniors and guys who have been doing this for a while along with your good freshmen and sophomores, because you need experience to be successful, and we're seeing that with you and specifically Bradley. But Bradley's defensive identity plays a big role in your performance. How does playing in the Missouri Valley Conference shape your approach as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think the Missouri Valley kind of prides itself on that grit and that energy that's brought to every single game. And set pieces has been Bradley's identity for a long time. They're going to throw everything in the box. They're going to kind of run at you. And that's something I definitely had to develop and grow into, coming out on crosses and things like that. They used to be a weak point of mine. But now that's something I feel like kind of controlling my box, because there's going to be a lot of big, strong players. That's kind of what the Valley prides itself on. So it kind of has shifted my mindset from I'm just going to have to save every ball, to instead coming off my line and things like that, and just trying to kind of do the best I can to command the box and kind of give our defense a break when they need it. So
yeah, that's another thing. I think soccer is a physical sport, even though it gets its bad rep because of the flopping. But being a goalie and jumping and trying to hit the ball when there's other and the soccer players are not small dudes, especially the guys who are in the box are in there for a reason. So that's something that I don't my body couldn't do that, because that's something that is I don't know if I could do that. Your strength last year helped stabilize the defense. How much of Bradley's defensive setup depends on your communication and positioning behind the back line?
Yeah, I think it starts with me because I can see the whole field, but we just have a lot of good players that understand the game really well, so they communicate with each other on things, and then I kind of talk to the defense, and they talk to the midfielders, and they talk to the strikers, so it's everybody plays their role in kind of organizing and kind of determining how we're going to set up for different scenarios and different games.
Totally. Looking at the Missouri Valley overall, what trends or styles of play have you noticed that require goalkeepers to adapt to their technique and mindset?
Yeah, I think looking at the Valley, there's different styles with each team. So Drake is just kind of going to lump the ball in the box, and they're looking for that set-piece goal, and UIC loves to one-on-one attack and kind of take people on the dribble. So depending on which team I'm going against, I'm kind of different mindset on. Today I'll see a lot of kind of shots from distance, or today I'll have to come off my line a bit more and catch some crosses. So it's not a big adjustment in what I'm thinking of pre-game and how I prepare, but there are some studying of the other team, and it affects a little bit of my preparation and practice that week. So.
Totally, and I think something that not many people who watch college soccer might know, but you also have 3 teams from the MAC. The MAC, it's a confusing thing, but Northern Illinois, Bowling Green, and Western Michigan, and I mean, all 3 of those are good, but I want to really focus on Bowling Green and Western Michigan. Those are arguably top 25 teams, especially Western Michigan every year. So I think that's another thing too, is you're getting a different thing than every other, athlete who participates in Valley participation, because you're the only one who's seeing Bowling Green, Western Michigan, and Northern Illinois consistently every year. In high foul or physical games, like the one against Belmont where Bradley defended through a barrage of fouls, how do you stay composed?
Yeah, when we foul and there's a set piece, obviously there's so much time to think because it takes a while before the ball to get in. But I think just over the years I've learned to trust myself even more. You know, I've had DeRose, who was a very good coach, and he was actually a goalkeeper himself, and he just taught me, like, oh, sit on the ground, and they're going to shoot, and they're not going to score from that far. So kind of just telling me to stay higher off my line, and I've kind of worked on that, and it's really helped me. And then the confidence that the team and the coaches have given me to allow me to make those plays and come off my line has been really helpful for those fouls and set pieces, because it's probably the most stressful moments in games are the fouls and the corner kicks and things like that. So.
Yeah, definitely, because it's do I go? What happens if I miss?
Yeah,
so
that's always in my head.
That's definitely like something like just from watching as a fan. Like if I go for this ball and let's say I miss, there's no one in net. Well, there is, but they can't use their hands.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that there's a lot more stressful, like just from, and we're not even done with this interview, but from what I've gained so far is this is a very stressful job. Against Drake, Bradley defended well against Drake's 11 shots. How do you align your performance with the broader defensive effort? Like you talked about earlier, it's obviously like, you know, you're going to get all the credit for the saves and the shutout, but it's a team effort. So how do you kind of align with the team? Because obviously it's a team. Everyone does something. So what would you say you...
I mean, we defend with 11 players, especially Bradley. We're big into everybody in the box when we're defending and things like that. So first and foremost, I'm just trying to help everybody know their roles and kind of stay in their shape and things like that. And then when I'm called upon, I'm just trying to come out and, again, just do the best I can to kind of relieve the defense, because it's a lot easier when the ball's in my hand than on the floor. So. Yeah,
totally. And I think that, I mean, some people might say it's not a great thing that it's in your hands, but because that means the ball is getting to the goal. But with Bradley, like you said, that's kind of what you want. They like to start stuff from the back, whereas like some teams like to start it up front. So I think it's to each their own team. Now we'll kind of get into your sort of training and stuff like that. What training drills have proven best for you for improving your save percentage and reaction time?
Yeah, I think over the years I've had many different coaches and different styles of like training, and I've just found that I focus a lot more on quality than quantity. So I don't like to go out there and just smash a bunch of balls and just kind of save as many as I can. I focus on like the footwork and like just making sure I'm seeing every shot in my set position. I've actually changed my set position throughout college multiple times to adjust to the game and things like that. So it's more on just quality and making sure that my set position and things like that are correct.
Okay, yeah, that's something like when you hear people talk about the sports that they play and they're like, oh, I'm going in the gym all the time. That I think it can kind of be sort of good but not good, like what you kind of said with quantity. Like I'd much rather have someone who goes in every other day or every day for an hour than someone who goes in every day for 3 hours but only 30 minutes of those 3 hours is actually productive, whereas an hour every other day is productive. So I think that's that's something that is interesting. After a stretch with heavy shot volume, what's your physical and mental reset like? So let's say you go 4 or 5 games or a week of games, and in those games you're getting a bunch of shots put on goal or shots just in general. What's your physical and mental reset routine?
Yeah, I guess after a game it's just kind of, it takes me a bit to like kind of settle down or stuff like that, because I'm always like I'm watching videos, whether good or bad.
Yeah.
So it takes me a little bit, but at the same time I got to get over it quick, because it's always a next game mentality.
Exactly.
So physically I usually just take a day off or something like that after games to just help my body kind of be more prepared for each game so I can play at 100%. But mentally it's just got to be that kind of get over everything really quick, whether good or bad, so I can focus on the next.
Totally. Yeah, you and I were talking a little before this about American football, and I'm actually doing a high school football game tomorrow, and I was talking to the coaches, and in all of like the games that I've talked to coaches for pregame interviews and stuff, all of them have been it's a mental reset. Like you have like an hour or so for the game that whatever just happened, and then they're like, we're on to the next opponent. So that's something that I think is really interesting. It's starting to go to the players now, which is even more interesting. Can you walk us through what's going through your mind during those final minute or high stake moments? Like that let's give an example. The Milwaukee 88th minute, and basically the last 10 minutes of that game, they were basically in the box basically the whole 10 minutes. So just walk us through what that was kind of like for you.
Yeah, when I'm playing better, my mindset is kind of better towards the end of the game, but it's just a very high stress moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm being honest, at the end of the game, I'm like, don't shoot the ball, don't shoot the ball. But I'm always happy to make that save or make multiple saves in the last few minutes of a game. But yeah, I'm just trying to stay focused, and I make a good play, and it's like next play. There's no really time to celebrate anything, especially
totally.
the end of games like that. So it's a huge relief once the final whistle blows and we win the game. So.
Yeah, and I think a great example of you waiting is if you watch that whole Milwaukee game, that last minute, you and your whole team are jumping and celebrating after that game, which is kind of good. I mean, I'm happy you did that after the final whistle.
Yeah.
You know, they're starting to kick a corner and you guys start celebrating a little too much.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's good. What's been the biggest surprise? Obviously, you're a senior, so you've kind of been through it all with college, but what's been the biggest surprise adjusting to collegiate level competition?
I think it's just the physicality of it, to be honest. Because when I first played in college, it was like just a new level. The ball's moving faster. There's bigger people running in the box. And I remember my first game, I actually just spilled the first couple shots just because I was so nervous and just kind of mentally getting over that kind of nerves. And also, like I said, our defense is really good. So there's sometimes I only touch the ball 3 or 4 times with my hands in a game, and that's just – it can be stressful when it's been 70, 80 minutes and I haven't made a save yet, and then I'm just waiting for that one moment.
Yeah, I would be like on edge, but I'd also be like on edge and then go back and then on edge and then like back and forth. Where like I'm ready for anything, and then like I don't know how you don't get like you ever have like moments where you're just like dazing off and stuff, because with soccer you can't really daze off, especially being a goalie, because you're kind of like you're obviously a player on the field, but you're also kind of a coach, because like you said, you can see the whole field. So I don't know how you do it. Like seriously, I know I've said that a lot now, but just in this interview I've started to get a better understanding of it. That's all you, man. So do you rely on any mental rituals like visualization, breathing, pregame routines to sort of get you into that, like, all right, it's game time, like you have the moment like where before you warm up, kind of mess around with your teammates before the game, but then do you do anything that sort of locks, like, all right, when I do this, I'm locked?
Yeah, I think every goalkeeper at one point in their career has struggled with the mentality and the anxieties before games, and that's definitely something I struggled with when I first got to college. And recently I've been doing a lot of meditation and visualization before games, and just kind of repeating phrases in my head that I said, like, I'm confident, just to try to get myself to not be afraid of like going out and missing a ball or things like that. And just, I think visualization's been the biggest help for me.
And I think you brought in a whole nother aspect where confidence and mental health, I think that's a whole nother thing in these sports, especially being a college athlete, where now it's basically like a professional sport with NIL. If you don't do good enough, they're going to pay another dude to come in. And that not only does it mess with your confidence, it messes with your mental psyche as well. So I think that's another great, and that could be a whole nother side conversation that we could do another time. But I think that's a really interesting point that you bring up. When facing high-pressure situations, how do you stay calm and confirm your decision-making remains sharp? Like in those moments where, you kind of have told me, like, sometimes I don't want them to shoot the ball. How do you – they're shooting it at the goal. You're going to make an attempt. So how do you kind of be like, I need to go and dive for that ball? Like, what is that kind of decision-making like?
Yeah, there's a lot of little things I look at, and it's more than just shoot and then react. So like if my defender's on the right side, I know I have to protect more on my left side of the goal and things like that. So I'm just trying to analyze everything, the foot placement, like the runners in the box, just making sure I know where everybody is. So when the ball travels, I can run to the person who's about to shoot instead of following the ball, things like that. So, and then just in the moment, I just react. You know, I don't, there's not much thought to it. When I make a save, it's just my body just goes. I've done it for so long, and it's just kind of natural to me at this point. So I think it's just the biggest thing is analyzing before the shot or before the crosses and things like
so
that.
how do you, because, like, you know, I've messed around with my brother before when we went to a park and there was a soccer net, and I've tried to be goalie, and I've tried to wait until they shoot the ball, but sometimes the ball goes too fast. So how do you kind of, I mean, obviously you're not, you know, like me, you're a D1 athlete, so there's something different there, but what is that like when someone shoots a ball and, you know, you're in net and you can't really see it? What is that moment like, and you end up making this? How do you kind of get, because sometimes you got to guess, so what is that kind of like?
Yeah, there's some situations where it's just a lot of traffic in front of me and I can't see, but typically, like I said, I'll look at the defenders and be like, all right, it looks like he has this part of the goal covered off, so I'll lean one way to try to look around defenders and things like that. And then once he hits it, once I see the ball, it just it just happens.
Totally. So now we'll kind of go back into your you know, personal and stuff like that. How did your journey lead you to a goalkeeper position, and was that a conscious choice, or did that develop over time? Like we've heard think of an athlete. Sometimes, like Patrick Mahomes is kind of my go-to, where everyone thought he was going to be a baseball player. If you watched the New Kingdom documentary, his dad thought everyone thought he was going to be a baseball player, and then his sophomore year of high school, he went, I'm going to throw a football around, and I mean, he made the right decision. But was it kind of something, or like we'll see some guys who are put in a position because they're not good, and then all of a sudden they become great? What was you being a goalie kind of like? Yeah,
growing up on youth teams, I was just kind of splitting time in the goal, playing on the field, and then I don't know, my dad was like, I just saw something. I just kind of, the moment he told me was I got hit in the face with the ball when I was like 8 or 9, and I got back up and finished the play, and I didn't cry till after the ball went out of bounds. And then that moment he was like, all right, he's a goalkeeper, and I haven't looked back since. So.
Yeah, have you had any, this one's not as personal, but have you had any bloody noses? Have you ever broken your nose or anything from a ball being hit in your face yet, or no?
Yeah, I actually played with Peoria City over the summer.
Yeah. And
my first game, my defender, I collided with him, and I had to go home because I broke my nose.
Oh, jeez, that's bad. So, that's rough. Especially like now, it's like, and I'm not saying that in like a bad thing, but most people like usually like will break their nose when they're younger. Now and it was just like a freak accident. Like, was that a pain? Like, what is the feeling like breaking your nose? Because I've never. So what is?
Yeah, usually when I get injured on the field, like I said, I will finish the play out every time. I got hit and I was like, nope. I was like, no, I just laid down and I waited. I don't even know where the ball went, to be honest.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, a bone fracture is something not to, especially on your face. Like that's.
Yeah.
Was there or were there coaches or, you know, parents, uncles, brothers, coaches or mentors who helped shape you into the goalkeeping style early on?
Yeah, I didn't have a goalkeeper coach or play club until I was about a freshman in high school. Yeah,
so that's impressive.
And then I found my goalkeeper coach, and he was very unorthodox. He's from England, and just like I worked with him. He was very open about different styles. He didn't have one set style.
Yeah.
So I kind of worked with him on set position, diving, all things like that, and almost everything I do now is from what he has taught me in terms of like.
And I think that's that's something that is good for, especially like you were a freshman in high school, you're still learning this. Having a coach that more adapts to you than a sense of forcing something that they have been taught to show you, I think is a reason why he's a good coach, because he can adapt. Like that's what I think makes a great coach in any sport. The coach that can adapt to the players and the play style. Like obviously he has some set stuff, obviously. I would assume that these are the baseline stuff, but a lot of it is he'll kind of build it around you, which I think makes a great coach. What has been the biggest surprise? I asked that already. Um, looking ahead, what specific personal goals, like target goals against average or number of clean sheets, are you setting for the season? Or if you want to kind of do personal and then team goals, what would you say that is?
Yeah, I mean, I had just like trying to stay under 1 goal a game.
Mm-hmm.
That was the goal, and then it's been an interesting 4 games
Yeah,
to open up the season. So
it has.
it's like
It's been. I think that's if you don't know soccer, these first 4 games are like the perfect definition. Like
yeah,
up and
you
down,
see it
up and
all.
down. Yeah.
And then I don't know, that kind of just went out the window after these first 4 games. I'm like, all right, none of that really matters. I just want to go into conference ready with the whole team.
Yeah.
Because right now with all the new guys, we're still kind of gelling together.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean the goal is to win conference. Obviously,
Exactly.
that's everybody's goal. But I really believe in this team, and I really think we can do some things in conference. And we've been right there for 2 years. It just felt like it's just end of games. We haven't closed games. We had a lot of blown leads and things like that. So we're right there, and I think we can kind of make a name for ourselves.
And I think, it's cliche to say this, but defense wins championships.
Yeah.
So like I think that's something that'll be always on your guys' side is the defensive side of it. Just have a few more sort of personal / like not as serious questions. How do you view your leadership role are you a vocal presence, with organizing the whole offense, you organize a lot of stuff obviously on the field. So how do you view your leadership role? Are you a vocal presence organizing defense or more of a silent anchor?
Yeah, over the last few years I've become a lot more vocal, but I just try to tell players like little things, and when the ball's in the attacking half I don't really speak much.
I
kind of just try to let them do their own thing. They're a lot better than that at that than I am. But just to try to motivate the guys and get them like energized for each and every game. I think that's something we're kind of struggling with right now. Is we're ups and downs, and we're really motivated today and not so much the next day. You know? So just trying to bring that leadership role that I've learned throughout the years of like how to kind of bring everybody onto the same page and kind of especially organizing the defense and team shape and things like that.
Totally. Well, this is my last question. Off the field, what activities or hobbies do you do to help stay balanced during the grind of the season? Obviously, we're in the middle of it. Well, early / middle of it. So what do you kind of do to help you sort of? Obviously, you want to be invested in, obviously, but there's some points where some people get too invested in stuff. So what do you kind of do to keep you balanced in everything?
Yeah, I think freshman year I came in like soccer is it. Soccer is who I am. That's all I'm gonna bring. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And I actually sat down with Marcellus Somerville. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do.
So Bradley Basketball Hall of Fame, and he just kind of told me that soccer is the vehicle that you use to live out your purpose. And at that time, soccer was my purpose. So I was like, what more do I have to offer, you know?
Yeah.
So I love working with kids. And I was like, that's something I want to do. I actually got a job with the Park District, just kind of helping kids and just giving back to the community in any way I can. So I love to sign up for things like that and go play basketball and football with the kids. And I just recently signed up with the Big Brother, Big Sister program.
Okay.
So now I have my little brother down at least Ford Academy, if you know where that is.
Yeah.
So he's 10 years old, and I just do that as much as I can. I'm just
That's
out there
awesome.
helping him kind of go through social situations and things like that. And that's been kind of my purpose over these last few years. And I'm just so thankful to have Marcellus kind of just tell me that.
Yeah, that's eye-opening.
Opened my eyes.
Especially from someone who, I think probably led the most. Obviously Bradley was good with Hershey Hawkins in basketball, but that's like when you think of Bradley, that's the team that you think of is the team with Somerville when they made that, I think Sweet 16 is where they made.
I believe.
That's someone who kind of has dealt with all the pressures of being, the star in Peoria, the guy that came in here as all I'm going to do is basketball. So that's something that's good. And it's also, I think, something that is not talked about as much just from that is you learn this as a freshman. I think you would be a completely different, and not in like a bad way. I just think if you would be a completely different person and have a completely different like understanding of how you approach soccer if you learn that your junior year. I think that's another big thing because it's eye-opening, especially being 18, 19 years old when someone who's been in your shoes is telling you that. That's something that you can't really get again. That's something that you kind of cherish.
Yeah.
And I mean, it seems like
it stuck with me.
Exactly.
So it's definitely helped so much.
But like I said earlier, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to do this. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in to another episode of the John, your daily sports dump, where I was joined by Bradley goalkeeper Drew Barry. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for sports updates and hot takes in real time. If you're looking for even more sports talk, check out the Sports Syllabus Show, where my partner and I tackle the hottest topics in college sports and beyond. It's a two-ply discussion, strong, reliable, and always ready to clean up the messiest takes in sports. Join me next time on the John, your daily sports dump, where we'll be liquidating the assets of outdated sports stats. Until then, keep game face on and stay regular. This is the John.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.